about to finish, don't finish. Say, my mother is waiting for me. We'll finish on the phone. I tell you, this is how to get married. And I repeat this because you are not doing it. This is how to get married. You see a man you like. Are you here? You see a man you like. Don't move around and go like, that brother. Just go there with your Bible nicely. Say, can I talk to you? Say, yes, sister. This, what the prophet was saying, I did not understand. Don't leave the church early. No, wait for the brother. Then you see the man is like, yes. Yeah, in this verse it means this and it means this. Say, okay, let me get my notes. Go write notes as he's talking. When he's about to finish, don't finish. Say, my mother is waiting for me. We'll finish on the phone.
At the end.
The dua you said, shaitan will not see you. You're in the toilet, shaitan can't see you anymore. That's in a hadith, right? If you don't say the dua, what happens is the shaitan not only comes inside, but the hadith of Tirmidhi says he plays with your bowels. He plays with your bowels. So you're inside there, you're thinking you're going to be out there in 5 minutes. He's taking you 20 minutes and you're still not halfway there. You know why? Because shaitan is going, ooh, la la. See, the hadith told you, the hadith says to us, he plays with your bowels. Yal'abu, he plays with the bowels.
I didn't see Sister Hannah here. Hannah Banana, not available. But thank you all for coming. I appreciate that. So, there is this one interesting video. Many a times you have people talking about Quranist, the Quranist. These people actually want to segregate or allocate this title to a particular group they don't agree with, who claim they follow the Quran alone for guidance. It doesn't mean they don't follow other books, right? People who follow the Quran alone for guidance in Islam, in the religion, right? So the moment you claim you follow the Quran alone for guidance in Islam, this antagonist, this opposition, they tag you as Quranists. So they have a categorization for all these groups, Quranists, right? Because you said you don't agree with the books they have, the Hadith books and so on. Yeah, just because you said you don't agree with that. So they call you Hadith rejectors, right? Oh, sorry, I was supposed to share this to my my group. Let me see. Just a second, ladies and gentlemen. I just need to share this to the group. Let me see. Bear with me just a second. Just a second, please. I'm trying to share this to my WhatsApp group. So they will tag all the people who don't agree with Hadith books. They will tag you as Hadith rejectors, or they give you the name Quranists. So these are the two titles they normally use. They use Hadith rejectors, or then they use what we call Quranist. Yeah, thank you, Momade, for sharing that. Let me put it to my other group. Yeah. So then they will tag you as the Quranist. But within people who have been tagged as the Quranists, we have people who don't believe in a ritual salat. Like salat, for instance, Baba Shuaib, I believe in salat, right, as a ritual, but not in a ritualistic form as the way the sectarians, Hadith people do it. No, not that. Because first of all, you should understand what is a ritual. A ritual is a customary procedure, which is like a custom that you do, a religious prescribed religious procedure that you do constantly. You observe, right? Constantly. That becomes your ritual, right? So in that sense, Salat didn't start from me, Baba Tribe. Neither did it start from you. It started from the prophets. We have Abraham, we have Moses, we have Jesus, we have, and so on and so forth. So it's a ritual they keep doing because it's a customary observance based on the deen. And this salat, you have to go. God says, "Iza kuntum ila salat fagusulu mujuakum." You have to follow a particular ritual again, which is the ghusl, the washing. It's ritual, unless if you don't know the definition of a ritual. But we are not saying that the salat you find in the Quran, we are not saying it is in line with the hadith followers. That's not the point. Do you get my point? So don't mistaken us who follow the Quran for our guidance. Don't mistaken us with the hadith people, right? So somebody will say, how come you have the prescription of the ghusl, meaning when God says, when you get up for the salat, wash your faces and your hands to the elbows and wipe your heads and your legs to the your heels. How come this is clear, but then we don't find the salat being prescribed as stand, do this? Because the prophets have already done it in the Quran. Yours is just to look at the example, the way they did it, and copy. That's it. So God says in Quran chapter 6, verse 90, Ulaika allazina ada Allah, fabi udahuhum iqtadi. Those are the ones God has guided. And they are the ones God has guided. So you will be guided, or you shall lead in their footsteps. So you will also be guided in their footsteps. Quran chapter 6, verse 90. So when you read the context, it tells you the history of the prophets. And all these prophets God mentioned, he guided them. You understand? So you are supposed to follow their footsteps. So this is why we find the stories of the prophets in the Quran. Salat didn't start from you. Isa established Salat. Ibrahim established Salat. Now the question is, how did they establish their Salat? Go to the Quran and check how they did. Stop going to misquote verses and say, oh, here it says Musallin. So Musallin means this. You understand? Just go simply where God has this. Look, Quran chapter 4, verse 102. God says to the prophet, when you are among them, then establish the salat for them. Establish the salat for them. Then it shows a procedure. So we have people who bring their own understanding and say, no, it's not physical. It is this. Fine, that's up to you. It's not physical. That's up to you. We don't call you names that, oh, you did. No. That's up to you. You said it's not physical. No problem. We said it's physical. Yeah. I'm saying it's physical. So if you think I'm lying, just give me a call. I'll sit you down face to face like this. But first of all, we start with you. You prove to us your salat from head to toe. And then we will also ask you questions. Simple, right? Then we see if you have the right to say, oh, these guys are doing physical salat, so they are kafirs, or they are mushriks, or they are hadith. No, don't do that. That's foolishness. If you have a different opinion or understanding to something, or you see something as metaphorical and somebody see it as literal, doesn't give you the room to think the person is right. That's your opinion. Fine. If you want to do it non-physically and you think it's following closely, duty, commitment, or whatever you have, that's up to you. We said it's physical. We are doing it. What's your problem? Do you get my point? So based on these groups and so on, we will have the sectarians, the Hadithiyuns, they classify all of us together, and then they will say the Quranists. We understand. So they have different understanding and concepts on how they understand this movement. So typically, they have a particular understanding that Quranists are people who make up new meanings and words. Yes. And it's sometimes it's obvious that this is what of late, this is what happens. They will just come up with a new meaning that you can never even trace in the authentic vocabulary. Sometimes they just make up a meaning. So they'll just go to the Quran, find a word and say, this word means this. I'm serious. If you ask them, where did you get this? Where did you get this meaning? You're like, yeah, if you look at the context, it's clearly. How can you know context when you don't know the meaning of a word? Is that not foolishness? You have to know the meaning of a word. That's why every language has a vocabulary. You need to know what the meanings of a word before you pick up that word and put it in a context. If you just take a context and you say, oh, I just read, I understand the context. First of all, what are you doing? You're reading a translation. You don't even know the language. How can you read a context when you don't know the language? Because then you have to read somebody's version of translation. So how did you know that what this word means this? A word has multiple meanings. So based on the context it appears, then you know the side of the word which meaning or will fit in that context. Do you understand? So let me not stall on this. But anyways, because of this mishaps or this minor, I would say minor confusion, then we have the sectarians, the Sunnis and so on, classifying us as all of us being the same. They think we are all the same, but that is not the case. However, for instance, me, when somebody called me Quranist, I just laugh, right? Because in the Quran, God says we should be Muslims. Yes. Quran chapter 3, verse 20. Yes. Quran chapter 6, verse 71. Quran chapter 27, verse 91. We just be Muslims. Be among the Muslims. That's it. There's nothing like, oh, I'm Quranist, this. So the moment they start tagging us and giving us names, then the simple question I asked them, that the Prophet Muhammad, did he follow any other book aside the Quran? They said no. Then I said, okay, then he's also a Quranist. Then you hear the sectarian say, no. He's not a Quranist. He's not a Quranist. No, he is not. What? So what is your definition of Quranist then? Because Prophet Muhammad, did he follow any other book aside the Quran for his guidance? You said no. Khuluqul Quran, according to your garbage books. You said Khuluqul Quran. His character, everything was the Quran. He never followed any other book. You agree, right? Okay, good. So if you agree he never followed any other book, so by your definition, he's a Quranist. They'll say, no. He's not a Quranist. He's not like you guys. Are you okay? Are you okay in the head? Are you nuts? Because what is your definition of Quranist? You tell us. You tell us. Be honest. Tell us your definition of Quranist. These people are kaputu. I'm serious. They are kaput in the head. Anyways, so let me bring this guy. Let me show you. Before I go, let me show you one hadith rejecter. This guy he says they are the biggest hadith rejectors. Listen.
Imagine you got a million hadith. How many Sahih hadith do you reckon we have? And now we said about 10,000, by the way. Like most of the 95% of the hadith that are in the 6 books of hadith constitute what is authentic. What is authentic? So we've been so critical with the hadith that we've rejected 95% of them. We're the biggest hadith rejectors on the planet. We are, but we're not. We're throwing the baby with the bathwater. You know, there is some caution that we must exercise it. But we're saying that there's more rejection going on. That's how critical they say. This is Allah, this is Shaz, this is not.
Muhammad Hijab is a gem. We have to keep him safe. I'm serious. Muhammad Hijab, he's a gem. We have to keep him safe. The guy, he keeps making our job very easy, right? Against them, the mushriks. Muhammad Hijab, he makes our job very, 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 very easy. See, I'm serious. We don't need to struggle. Look, Muhammad hijab is actually making it. Okay, check another video.
It's absolutely true that the Quran can guide you. All these verses of guidance and stuff like that. You can be guided by the Quran alone. It can guide you straight to faith. No doubt about it. But once it's done that, it tells you how to continue being guided, and it's done through the Sunnah.
They think they are sensible and they keep on making mistakes.
That's the Oxford Bozo. The Oxford Bozo. Yeah. So these people, they make our assignment very easy. Like, it's like your enemy doing your own assignment for you. You understand? So when they talk, they don't listen to themselves. They don't pay attention. No. So this is why Baba Shoaib is telling you, the audience, kindly pay attention when these people are speaking. Pay close attention, because all you need is their words. Words are powerful. So use their words against them. That's all. Don't go up and down trying to prove yourself, taking evidence from the Quran. No. Don't do that. Just go and listen to their videos. Start taking their videos and clipping their videos up and present their own videos to them. I'm serious. Look, you don't need to do anything. Look, if you want to understand what I'm saying, just go and watch my playlist, Versus Scholars. My playlist is called Versus Scholars. Just watch how Baba Shoaib handles the scholars, the top scholars that you know. You. Yes, the ones you know. You name one. Name one right now. Go and watch. You see my video on the scholar. Yours is just to pay attention to what they say. Quran chapter 39 verse 18. Allazina yastami'una al-qawla fayattabi'una ahsanahu. Ulaika allazina adahumullah wa ulaika hum ulil albab. Yes. So those who listen to the word and follow the best thereof, or of it, they are the ones whom God has guided, and they are the ones who possess intelligence. So you need intelligence to pay attention to what is being said. Then you take the best thereof. Right? So that's how God will guide you. So you listen to Muhammad Hijab just said they are the biggest hadith rejectors. He said it trying to act like he's joking, but is a fact. They reject about 95% of the hadith books they have, the collections they have. So they just take about 5% and they are using. But yet they have the guts, out of their foolishness, to call you the one who say Quran is enough for Islam. They call you hadith rejector. So which hadith, excuse me, which hadith am I rejecting? Which one? Is it the garbage ones you accept that I'm rejecting? You call me hadith reject? Or which one? Because as a matter of fact, we the one who follow the Quran, we said the real hadith is the Quran. So we should be the ones calling you mushriks, hadith rejectors, because you did reject the Quran as the hadith. Oh, you never knew that? Please, kindly, when you have any mushrik next to you, tell him that Quran is the hadith. He will start laughing. Look, this guy, Quraniyun, he's calling the Quran hadith. Because they don't know the Quran. I'm serious. I'm not joking. They don't know the Quran. So when you say Quran is the hadith, they laugh at you. Quran chapter 39 verse 23. Allahu nazzala al-ahsan al-hadith. God has revealed the best hadith. But foolish mushriks, they don't know that. I'm serious. They'll be laughing at you out of ignorance. And then you'll be wondering, are you talking to a sound person? Like, that's how you'll be wondering. You'll be looking at him, you're like, why are you laughing? It's like, because you call the Quran hadith. Quran is not hadith. Quran is not hadith. You don't know the hadith of the Prophet. The Prophet, his sayings, his actions, his silence, his marrying of 6-year-old girl, his sleeping with 11 or 9 women in one night. You don't know this one. That is our hadith. Anyways, they are making our job easy. We just need to use your scholars' videos against you. Simple. The job is very easy. Look, let me show you how easy the job is. Let me show you. I'm going to play another video, so you understand why I said the job is very easy. We don't need to stress. The job is not difficult at all. Let me show you another video. The other video is who is that? This guy. This guy, he's more like another comedian. Yeah, Yeah, I see him like another comedian, but check what he said. That is Yusuf Estes, right? Yusuf Estes. You listen to the English he used. The English. Listen to the English.
For in the Quran is the hidayah or the guidance that we all pray for every single day. Every Muslim, every day. For without the guidance of Allah, there would be no guidance. There is none to guide except the ultimate guide, Al-Hadi. Allah is Al-Hadi. The only source of hidayah, real hidayah, is Quran. This is the real source. You want to know how to be guided? Go to the Quran and pay attention. Subhanallah.
You get it? If you don't get it, forget about it. So this is how subconsciously they tell you the truth. But if you don't pay attention, you will miss all these details. They are telling you. So yours is just take their videos and share it to them. Say, oh, Sheikh, but you said the real hidayah, the real source of guidance is the what? The Quran. But Sheikh, why are you saying if I don't follow your garbage books, I'm a kafir again? How? I can't think far. How? Seriously. Then I wonder these people, they call them professors, they call them doctors, they call them doctorate in foolishness. Yes. How? No, seriously, let it make sense. How are they doctors? How are they professors? In what? So if you, the listener, you don't pay attention critically, that is what you lament with on the day of judgment. Quran chapter 67 verse 10. If you fail to listen, you will fail to reason. And that will make you fail. Seriously. So you have to listen and reason. That is why Quran chapter 25 verse 44. It says, do you think that most of them listen or reason? It says they are just like livestock. I'm serious. And even they are way astray than the livestock. I'm serious. Naba Hussein, I see you, bro. Yes, thank you all. Afalat Akila, I see you. I said facts. So kindly pay attention when these bozos are speaking. You don't need to do any how will I say, any explanation yourself. Allow them to do all the explanation. Then you take their videos. That's all you need. Yes. Somebody just said, he says, reasoning for them is haram. Yes, according to sectarians, to use your own understanding or reasoning is haram. It's forbidden by their scholars. Not by God. It's for their scholars, it's forbidden. Quran is telling you, chapter 17, verse 36, وَلَا تَقْفُوا مَا لَيْسَ لَكَ بِعِلْمٍ. Do not pursue that of which you have no knowledge. Right? So according to Quran, you don't have to follow what you don't know. Yes, Salam, is it Al-Bugenes, right? You don't have to follow what you don't know. So you need to know something before you practice it or you participate in it. So don't do things blindly as, sheeple. So now I play this main video, right? That is this guy. Let me look for the video. It is about. Pay close attention when these people are speaking against the Quranists. Pay close attention.
Honest, I'm sorry to say these guys are a bunch of stoners. I'm serious, because Allah Azza wa Jal in the Quran says, وَأَطِيعُ اللَّهَ وَأَطِيعُ الرَّسُولِ. Obey Allah and obey the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. Yeah, and how are we gonna obey the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam? By following his sunnah. Where is his sunnah? In the hadith. Why would Allah tell you to obey the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam and we have nothing on him? We have nothing documented about the Prophet. That doesn't make sense. As a matter of fact, a lot of issues in Islam is actually from the sunnah. Prayer is from the sunnah. How are you gonna pray? See, you can't be Muslim if you don't follow the hadith, if you don't believe in hadith. It's funny because one of their justification is actually a hadith. The Prophet ﷺ said, don't write about me, and whoever writes about me other than the Quran, then erase it. These stoners, they don't know that the Prophet ﷺ said that when the Quran was being revealed, so people don't get mixed up by the Quran and the Hadith.
Okay. Now this is Faris Hamadi. Is Faris Al-Hamadi. I think I've done a video on him before, right? You go and watch, where he talks about the divine authority of God, and then he speaks about the bid'ah and so on, right? And these people, when they speak, they don't pay attention to themselves. They just spew the nonsense coming out of their mouth. And sometimes when Baba Shuaib is very harsh on them, you don't understand, because these people are very, very abusive. Yes, they use abusive words. Yes, yes. You don't just pay attention to them. They do. I'm serious. I'm not joking. I watch a lot of their videos, so I know what they do, right? So I'm taking the video bit by bit. After him, I'll play a similar type of video from somebody, and then I'll show you the problems with the people who keep tagging us Quranist. Then you get to know what they.
The Quranists, I'm sorry to say, these guys are a bunch of stoners.
So he says the Quranists, I'm sorry to say, these guys are a bunch of stoners, right? So, yeah. And he says he's sorry to say. Why are you sorry? Okay. You don't need to be sorry, because Baba Shuaib, if when I come full force against you, I'm not sorry for anything. I'm serious. Wallahi, I've never been sorry when I go all out on the on the scholars. I'm serious. I've never been sorry. Yes. So Faris Hamadi Al-Hamad, don't be sorry, eh? Baba Shuaib is going to get you. Don't be sorry. Let's go.
I'm serious, because Allah Azza wa Jal in the Quran says, وَأَطِيعُ اللَّهَ وَأَطِيعُ الرَّسُولَ.
This is their national anthem. They will just go, Atiwullah wa Atiwur Rasul. Look, the word Rasul, it means messenger. Because a messenger brings a message. In Arabic, we say Risala. If you want to understand, you go to Quran chapter 5, verse 67. God was talking to the messenger. He says, Ya ayyuha Rasul, balligh ma unzila ilayka min rabbik, wa in lam taf'alu, fama ballagta risalatahu. So risala, a messenger goes with a risala, a message. That's why he's called a messenger, because he has a message. Then when we say Nabi, that's a prophet. Nabi, the title Nabi is not the same as Rasul. I'm serious. If you want to understand that, go to Quran chapter 22, verse 75. God chooses messengers among the people and the angels. So if you say every Rasul is a prophet, you are a fool, because that means you are saying even the angels are prophets. Because what kind of foolishness is that? Do you get my point? Okay. So these people don't know the difference between Rasul and Nabi. And Baba Shuaib has been teaching people, yes, for the past 7 years. This is what I've been trying to educate people over. That Rasul duty is not the same as Nabi. Wallahi lazim. I got Mary witness. You would never ever find a single verse in the Quran where God says, obey the prophet. Where he says, obey God and obey the prophet. You will never. Wallahi, it doesn't exist. If anybody can pinpoint such a verse to me, I'll stop even reading the Quran. I will not even talk about the Quran again. I'll just maybe go to the Bible. Christians, don't jubilate yet. No. Seriously, it doesn't exist. But you find the bozos, these doctors and the professors of foolishness, always misquoting verses. Atiullah wa atiur Rasul. You don't be surprised. This kind of person, if I ask him which verse, he will be like, Akhi, you don't believe? You don't believe it's in the Quran? Now listen.
Quran says, وَأَطِيعُ اللَّهَ وَأَطِيعُ الرَّسُولَ. Obey Allah and obey the Prophet alayhi.
Do you see how they do? That's the mental gymnastic. They play with words, semantic. So God says, Atiullah wa atiur Rasul. That is, obey God and obey the messenger, because a messenger brings you the message. God never said, Atiullah wa atiur Nabi. He never said, obey the prophet, but instead, obey the messenger. It is not the prophet who came to the whole world. It was rather the messenger who came to the whole world, because the messenger has a message for the whole world. That's why he delivered the Quran. That's what a messenger does, to deliver a message. The Quran is a message from God. So that's why he says, Hudan linnas, Quran chapter 2, verse 185. So the messenger delivers a message. So Quran chapter 7, verse 158, the messenger himself, he said, Ya ayyuhan nas inni rasulillahi ilaykum jami'an. Ya ayyuhan nas inni rasulillahi. He didn't say inni nabiyullah. He never said I am the prophet of God to you all. He says inni rasulillahi ilaykum jami'an. So he is a messenger of God to us all. And what makes him a messenger? The Quran. He brought it. I got it. I have my copy. Simple. He has delivered it. Just like when a messenger from DHL or UPS or FedEx or you name it, EMS or whatever, delivers a parcel, he has delivered it. What else do you want from the messenger? To do what for you? To kiss you? So now, when God says Atiullah wa atiur Rasul, these people, they automatically swap the word and put Nabi there. So you hear them say, obey God and obey the prophets. This is what they do. But you don't pay attention. And you think because he is an Arab, though. He dressed like this, so you are like, MashaAllah, these are the people of the prophet. MashaAllah, he's telling the truth. They are fooling you. Don't get up.
Salat was said. Yeah, and how are we gonna obey the Prophet alayhi?
Then they go on the foolishness again, because the first premise they set is foolishness, total foolishness. Then they go on the second premise again. How are we going to obey the prophet? How are you? Are you a fool? And this is when I talk, you say Baba Ishwab is insulting. Is he not a fool? No, you look at him. You look at him very well. Is he not a fool? Where did God say obey the prophet? God says obey the messenger, because a messenger has a message to deliver. You left the messenger, you say obey the prophet. How can I obey the dead man? He is dead. I'm serious. The prophet is dead. Don't you see the videos they show you? He says in the grave, out of their foolishness again, we say, what do you say? Salam, assalamu alaikum, you and Nabi. They say he respond. And somebody with the name Mobile will say salam alaikum, you and Nabi. And then the angel will say, honorable, the Mobile says salam to you. So he keep responding, salam, 1,000 times. How many times? 1,000,000 times. And when we call you mushriks, you are frustrated.
By following his sunnah.
How do we obey the prophet? By following his sunnah. Allah, these people are stoneheads, loggerheads, dumbasses, jackasses. Seriously, you name it. Find the words. Bozos, miscreants. Call all the words for them. They deserve it. I'm serious. I'm seeing no mercy for the foolish people. How do we obey the prophet? The sunnah. The sunnah, we obey from the sunnah. Hey, Allah, these people. And they have degrees in foolishness. They have doctor, professor. See, you call these people professor, doctor. What is wrong with you? How can you be calling people like this doctor and professor? Imagine this kind of person in the surgical room. What is going to do to you? Instead of the cord says put messenger here, we put prophet there, here in your abdomen. By the time you wake up, you are a dead person. You keep trusting these bozos to lead you and say doctor and professor. What kind of doctor? They don't deserve the doctorate. I'm serious. What are they doctorate in?
Where is his sunnah? In the hadith.
Again, you see the foolishness. Now I start thinking that My son is 5 years old. Serious. My son, he can spot foolishness seriously, easily. I'm serious. Sometimes I watch videos like that. I show my son. I said, my son is like, this guy is ugly. And I said, oh, that's what you saw. Oh, don't do that. Don't do that. It's not ugly. You understand? They have nothing to offer.
Why would Allah tell you to obey the Prophet ﷺ when we have nothing on him? We have nothing.
Look, you see the foolishness again. Why would God tell you to obey the? Where did he say I should obey the Prophet? Which verse? Where does he say Atiullah wa atiul Nabi? That's the first instance. Look, if you can solve this issue, it's just like building a house with a foundation. Without a foundation, you can't build a house. If the foundation is wrong, how do you expect the story building to stand on its legs? And they keep repeating the same foolishness. When correctional officer is looking for you face to face, you are running.
Nothing documented about the Prophet. That doesn't make sense.
Did God says obey God and obey the documentaries or documents about the Prophet? Is that what God says? Look, Quran chapter 10 verse 82. God says, وَيُحِقُّ اللَّهُ الْحَقَّ بِكَلِمَاتِهِ وَلَوْ كَرِهَ الْمُجْرِمُونَ. And God will enforce the truth with his words, not your words, not this foolish bozo's words. And God will enforce the truth with his words, even if the criminals dislike it. I'm serious. And these are the criminals, people like this. When God says Rasul, they will say Nabi. When God says Hadith, which is the Quran, they will say, Hadith of Sahih Bukhari. Sunnah, the Sunnah.
As a matter of fact, a lot of issues in Islam is actually from the Sunnah.
You see the foolishness again. As a matter of fact, a lot of issues in Islam is from the Sunnah. Allah, these people, they are low key. And they think they are making sense. I'm serious. Look, to them, they are making so much sense to their audience. Because the audience, they tell them to close the brain and throw the key away. Yes, they can't think outside the box. And when they see you using your common sense, you are like, you are disgusting to them. They are like, look at him. Who are you? You think you are smarter than the Sahaba? You look at you.
Prayer is this from the Sunnah. How are you going to pray? You can't be Muslim if you don't follow the Hadith, if you don't believe in Hadith.
You see the argument, the line of argument, it makes you tired. Like the line of argument, the way they put the argument. You see, so you can't follow, you can't be a Muslim if you don't follow Hadith. That's your argument. So these people were born by people also.
It's funny because one of their justification is actually a Hadith.
What? One of our justification is actually a Hadith. You people don't even come out to debate with us. Look, the ones who claim we follow the Quran alone, none of the scholars in the mushriks are scared. None of them. They are even scared to debate us. And if you sincerely take a full debate, a Quran alone follower with the Sunni mushrik, and you want to watch our dialogues or debates, wallahi, it doesn't add up. Because you will see that the nonsensical aspect of words coming out from the mushrik, the sectarians, is unimaginable. You can't phantom that. They are full of nonsense. I'm serious. They are actually the broad daylight enemies of the Quran, but they pretend they are the one who are the Muslims.
The Prophet ﷺ said, don't write about me, and whoever writes about me other than the Quran, then erase it.
He is quoting Sahih. So what they do is, let me take that part back.
So people don't get mixed up by the Quran.
So the hadith he quoted, that is Sahih Muslim 3004, لا تكتب أني ومن كتب أني غير القرآن فليمهه وأدثه عني. Now, these people will say, oh, at that time, it is the Quran is being revealed, so they don't want it to be mixed up. So that is why, guys, I hope you can hear me, right? You can hear me on Facebook, YouTube, right? They don't want it mixed up. That is why the Prophet told them not to write anything. Is that what the Prophet said? Which explanation? Where is the explanation coming from? Bring us the hadith where the Prophet actually was explaining that. At that time, I told you this, so I didn't want you to mix up the hadith. That's why I told you it doesn't exist. It is your own scholars fabricating this nonsensical explanation again. But people don't know how to ask questions. And that is why, Baba Shoaib, I do videos to teach people to understand how to question these miscreants, these bozos. I'm serious. Okay, let's go.
Quran and the Hadith.
So this is Faris Al-Hamadi. Me, when I watch, to be honest, when I watch their videos, I see them like clowns and comedians. I don't take them seriously. It is due to you, my audience. That is why I present the video and then go over and then help you to understand how their brain works. It's just like we are taking them to the psychiatric hospital. So we bring them to the psychiatric hospital to assess their brain. You understand? So that's why correctional officer has to help you to assess these people's brain. They are not okay. So that you should be rest assured, they are not okay. So I saw another video similar to this, right? Their arguments, the way they present their arguments. I'm playing another video which is similar to the same terrain. So let me put the other video here.
We know this is the word of Allah. People often ask, if we have the Quran, why do we need the Hadith?
Allah says in the Quran, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu atiyu Allah wa atiyu Rasul. Obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and obey His Messenger Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. And how do you obey him? How do you follow the Prophet? With narrations and hadith. Just relying on the Quran doesn't even make sense. How do you practice your religion? How do you know how many rak'ah you have to pray? Or for example, when you go to Hajj or to Umrah, when you're doing tawaf around the Kaaba, how many rounds do you have to do? Show me in the Quran. Or for example, the incident of the cave where supposedly Abu Bakr was next to the Prophet. Show me Abu Bakr's name in the Quran, that he was next to Rasulullah. You need to follow the Sunnah of Rasulullah. And what is the Sunnah of Rasulullah? فَقَالَ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ كِتَابَ اللَّهِ إِطْرَتِي وَأَهْلِ بَيْتِي. We need to follow the Quran and his family, the Ahl al-Bayt, after Rasulullah.
It's Rasulullah وهو maniu. Rasulullah, these people are killing you. They are killing you. They are killing you. The Shiite, they have their own story. The Sunnis, they also have their own story. Hey, like these people, seriously, I need to quit my official job and take this thing full time. And have full time for these mushriks. I'm serious. I need to dedicate my full time to these mushriks. Hey, let's take him one by one. Let's check.
The Quran is true. We know this is the word of Allah. People often ask, if we have the Quran, why do we need the Hadith?
So the person was asking another scholar, the Quran is true, no doubt about it. If we have the Quran, why do we need the Hadith? Because if the Quran is sufficient for guidance, which the scholars actually admit is sufficient, not even the scholars, even the Oxford Bozo admits to that. He said the Quran, you can be guided by the Quran alone. And Quran chapter 17 verse 9, God says, Inna haza al-Qur'ana ya'di lillati hiya aqwam. Yeah, indeed, this Quran guides to that which is more appropriate in a superlative form, which means Quran is better in preference to guide you. And there's no way you can tell me Quran is not clear when it is actually given preference to guide you. Do you understand? So this is why God is saying, do not pursue that of which you have no knowledge. If there's a topic in the Quran you don't understand yet, leave it for the future time. You will understand later. Or find people who are ahead of you in knowledge to help you out. Simple. Look, you can be a mathematics student, a mathematician, but you have a syllabus you are following. This syllabus you are following from your school is actually going step by step. They have the subject, the topics inside, step by step. Just because you are a mathematics student doesn't mean automatically you should know everything from the pamphlet or from the textbook. It is a gradual process where you are learning. So when you get to the point where you are learning fraction, then now you will be taught fraction, you understand. You understand. Then you go to decimals, you mention them, all these topics in mathematics. Then step by step, you are getting all the point. Rome was not built in a day. You don't expect all of a sudden to know everything from the textbook. Similarly to the Quran. Just because you are a believer in the Quran doesn't mean, voila, I understand everything from the Quran. Yeah. Sometimes it takes a year to understand a single verse in the Quran. So take the ones you understand now and practice them. Then gradually, the other knowledge will be coming to you. Don't go practicing things you don't understand. You are a fool to practice things you don't understand. Don't do that. Just because you being a believer in God is sufficient. You believe in God, right? Good. The Quran starts studying step by step. Things you don't understand, don't practice it. God will not punish you for it. I'm serious. God is not going to punish you. I'm serious. When you understand, then you practice it. Why go practicing things you don't understand? After God telling you in his own infinite wisdom, do not pursue that of which you have no knowledge. So you don't have knowledge, why pursue something? So that's why we have courses. You go to school academically, you have a course that you partake, you study gradually, then you become a graduate, because it's a step by step. If you are not a graduate, you can't just say, oh, I know this. No, you go through the course before you graduate, then they give you your certificates. Then now you can actually boast and say, oh, now I know. Simple. But out of your foolishness, because you see mushriks doing 5-time prayers or this, then you say, oh, if I don't do it, I'm going to hell. You let these foolish scholars incite evil suggestion in your head, thinking, oh, God is going to. You think God is an unjust God?
Allah says in the Quran, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu atiyu Allah wa atiyu Rasul.
He stopped there. Do you see what he did? Otito, Otitan, or Otilo. You see? He stopped. Now watch.
Obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and obey his messenger, Rasulullah.
Okay, this guy did well a bit. Then he says, obey his messenger. But now look, you see the full verse there, but he just chose the upside, because this is how mushriks have been trained. Look, their national anthem, Wallahi lazim, I'm not joking with you. The national anthem of all the mushriks in Islam is Atiullah wa Atiu Rasul. And if you are lucky, then they add wa ulil amri minkum. That is if you're lucky. Then they add wa ulil amri minkum. Ahi, wa ulil amri minkum. Ahi, obey the scholars. Ulil amri minkum. How did they become scholars? Hey, so God forgot to say ulama minkum or ulama minkum. So now he said ulil amri minkum. Automatically, these people did the word swap. They put scholars there. So I hear you see, that's why we have to obey the scholars. So God doesn't know scholars now. The word for scholars is ulama. Yes, Quran chapter 35, verse 28. God mentioned ulama. Innama yakhshallahu min ibadil ulama. So ulama is knowledgeable people, learned people. So God forgot to mention it in Quran chapter 4, verse 59. So these people are smarter than God. Auzubillah. Yeah, so they swap the word and automatically they put scholars. So I hear you have to obey God and the prophet. They didn't say prophet. They will not say messenger. This guy did well. He said messenger. But let's see, because he's a sheet, right? Shia person. Well, I'm not saying he's shit like an insult. No, sheet. So, yeah, listen.
Sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam. And how do you obey him? How do you follow the Prophet?
And how do you obey him? How do you follow the prophet? Did God mention prophet in that verse? No. The word prophet doesn't exist in that verse. For God's sake. For God's sake. If I'm from Italy, this, you know this, what this means? For people who are in Italy, they know, they can tell you. Ask them what this. You know what this means? There is no prophet mentioned in that verse. And there is no word follow. Taba'a. It's not in that verse. It is obey. Obey doesn't mean follow. Follow and obey, they are not the same. Hey. And to be honest, and these people, a lot of them will be saying they are graduates in Arabic, this thing, Fusha and whatever. And then they present this garbage to the world. I'm serious. I can't think far. Seriously. Let's go.
With narrations and hadith.
How do you follow the prophet? And you say of narrations and hadith. So they give their own answers. Look, these people, they don't want answers from even the prophet, where the prophet himself will be answering questions. No. Look, you never seen mushriks telling you that the prophet is the best mufassir of the Quran, but yet when they need answers to a topic or a verse in the Quran, they go to their scholars. The irony. Something is wrong. Oh no, something is wrong. This cannot be right. How can you tell me the prophet is the best mufassir of the Quran, but yet when you need a simple answer to one verse, they tell you go to the tafsir of Ibn Kathir, Ibn Abbas, Ibn Taymiyyah, Tabari, Bagawi, Saad, Qurtubi, my favorite, Jalalain, Suyuti. You mentioned them. Hey, Allah, this mushrik, I don't know how their brain works. Wallahi, they need a brain reset. Yeah, I'm saying it boldly, Baba Shraib. Wallahi, put it out there for them to hear. Trim this part and give it to them. I said mushriks need a brain reset. And correctional officer will help you do that gradually. Don't worry.
Just relying on the Quran doesn't even make sense.
Do you see how they speak against the Quran comfortably? Do you see how they do that? God says, Sharu Ramadan allazi unzila fihi al-Quran hudan linnas. The month of the Ramadan is that in which God has revealed the Quran as guidance for mankind. This foolish bozo is saying that the Quran alone doesn't even make sense. Hey! They have confidence. Hey.
How do you practice your religion?
How do you practice your religion? This sheet is asking you.
How do you know how many rak'ah you have to pray?
How do you know how many rak'at you have to pray? The last time I checked, the Quran doesn't mention the word rak'at. It doesn't exist in the Quran. Please, if anybody can find the word rak'at, come. I'll try to manage my life savings. Maybe I have like 200 euros that I can give you. My life savings. Come and show me raka'at, the word raka'at. And they say, how do you know how many raka'at you have to do? So if it's not in the Quran, then who asked you to do it? Are you okay? If it is not in the Quran, the simple, like, okay, let's see, the stupid question I need to ask you is, if it's not in the Quran, who asked you to do it? Because if you say the Quran is the first source of Islam, the first source has to tell you something before with the second source will say something, right? The first source doesn't mention your raka'at. So how are you now asking me how many raka'at? Look, as a matter of fact, wallahi, in the Quran, you will never ever seen the followers of Muhammad or the believers in the Quran are ever asking the prophet or the messenger, yes, alunaka anis salat, when they ask you about the salat. It never existed in the Quran because it's not an issue of argument. I'm serious. If your salat is this way, mine is this way, well, we go and stand in front of God on the day of judgment. Simple. What is the argument for? What's the argument? You will never find a verse in the Quran where it says, yes, alunaka anis salat. When they ask you about the salat, it doesn't exist. It is the foolish mushriks of this generation who started this argument. How do you pray? Baba Shraib, I have a question for you. You've been running away for a long time. I don't find you. Okay, Baba Shraib will say, yeah, how may I help you? Baba Shraib, how do you pray if you don't follow the hadith? I'm serious. The person thinks he has the biggest machine gun coming at me. How do you pray? You tell me if you don't follow the hadith. Today I catch you, Baba Shraib. I catch you. You have to answer me. How do you pray? Hey! This question was never an issue at the time of the Prophet. You never find it in the Quran. It doesn't exist. Where you see anybody or the believers even having confusion to say, Messenger, how do we pray? We are confused. The Salat, how should we do it? It is stipulated in the Quran. It's simple. Follow the criteria, the footsteps of the prophets, the messengers in the Quran. What is your issue? Go to Quran chapter 2, verse 238. It tells you, Hafizu ala salawatu wa salatul wusta. Then he says, wa kumu lillahi qanitin. Stand before God or to God obediently. Standing is encompassed in the salat. Sujud is there. You understand? It tells you what you need to use the salat for. The verses of God has to be recited to you. Then you bow down, prostration, and show your submission to God. Simple. Call God. Tell God what you need. This is the connection you establish between you and God, because salat is a connection. Salah, you have a connection with God. Through what? His verses. That's why he told Moses, Innani ana Allah la ilaha illa ana fa'abuduni wa aqimi salat li zikri. Yes, Quran chapter 20 verse 14. And establish the salat for my remembrance. And the remembrance of God, you get it in the book of God. So you take the book of God and then establish your salat. This is simple. Somebody will say, okay, how many rakat? Who gave you rakat? How foolish can you be? Imagine the Quran will say, yes, alunaka ani rakaat. When they ask you about the rakat. Do you find such a question in the Quran? The Prophet was never asked these foolish questions. It's also the foolish mushriks of today. They think they are having the best question. I'm serious. So I get tired when people come, Baba Shraib, how do you pray? You think I'm running away from that question? It's a foolish question, for God's sake. But you think your scholars have beefed you up with a proper question. No problem. Let's go.
Or for example, when you go to Hajj or to Umrah, when you're doing tawaf around the Kaaba, how many rounds do you have to do?
He thinks he's asking he thinks he's asking the biggest question ever. How many rounds do you do?
Show me in the Quran.
Show me. Akhi, show me in the Quran. You say you Quranist, you say you are Quran. Show me. So this is how they feel they have authority. And this is why I bully these foolish mushriks when they come face, like, they are stupid. Show me in the Quran. Show me. They think they are. How? Who do you think you are for me to? Allah,
Or for example, the incident of the cave where supposedly Abu Bakr was next to the Prophet.
You see the foolishness. He says supposedly Abu Bakr was next to the Prophet. Now look at the question he's going to ask.
Show me Abu Bakr's name in the Quran.
Show me Abu Bakr's name in the Quran. Allah. Look, I keep telling you, these people are not okay. We need to take them to factory and the brains. I'm serious. To them, and you might think it's a joke. Even their scholars, this is how they've been programmed to ask you questions. So imagine Baba Shrib on the day of judgment, I go in front of God and I'm standing in the queue. Baba Shrib, yes, come forward. Show me the name of Abu Bakr in the Quran. You say you follow the Quran. Show me the name of Abu Bakr. So because of the name of Abu Bakr, God is going to put him into hell. Hey, Allah, their foolishness is beyond repair. I was talking about brain reset, but it's beyond repair. You understand? You know, sometimes when your phone or your laptop, it gets virus, it gets to the extent you can't even reset. If you try to reboot or reset, it doesn't work. You have to format it completely. So I guess their brain doesn't need a reset. It needs format. It needs to be formatted. Because that's the only way out. When it's formatted, all this nonsensical thought is out. Hey, Allah, you must say like a program, but I don't know how they've been programmed. So let's listen.
He was next to Rasulullah. You need to follow the sunnah of Rasulullah.
So because of this, you need to follow the sunnah of Rasulullah. Sunnah. You need to follow.
And what is the sunnah of Rasulullah?
We are going to find out. We don't know what is the sunnah of Rasulullah. Listen.
فقال رسول الله كتاب الله إطرتي وأهل بيتي.
So kitab Allah wa ahl al-bayt. That's the sunnah to Rasulullah. But the Sunnis, this is a Shia. He is a Shiite. So Sunnis will say Kitabullah wa Hadith, wa Sunnati, Hadith. And this one will tell you Kitabullah wa Ahl al-Bayt. And then they have another version, Kitabullah. Hey, Allah, I can't think far. This mushriks, Ladies and gentlemen, the reason why you see me like not taking these people seriously, let me show you the reason why I don't take them seriously. So that you understand where Baba Shrib is standing, right? I want to show you something. You understand my point. Let me put this verse on the screen, then you understand what I'm trying to do here, right? Let me put the verse. The verse is in Quran chapter 5, verse 105, right? It says, "O you who believe, Ya ayyuhallazina amanu, alaykum anfusakum." O you who believe, your souls are upon you. That is yourselves. Then it says, whoever is misguided cannot harm you when you have been guided. I repeat, La yadurrukum man dalla iza ahtadaytum or ihtadaytum. It says, whoever is misguided cannot harm you when you have been guided. That's all you need. Baba Shrib, I know the guidance of God. I've been guided by God. To understand the Quran is sufficient for guidance, right? So when I listen to somebody who has been misguided, there's no way he can harm me, or like I can clearly see the foolishness. Why will I fall in his traps? How can he harm me? How? Tell me. And that is why they are scared of correctional officer. I'm serious. It is not as if I'm a giant, or I'm the strongest man in the world, or I'm the most knowledgeable person in the... No, that's not. It's just because the facts and the truths I know from the book of God. That is what making them scared. Yes. Seriously. So Whoever is misguided cannot harm you when you have been guided. That's all you need. So to God is your return altogether, then he will inform you of what you have done. Simple. So this is why when you see me talking about these mushriks, I can clearly see their foolishness and how astray they are. Yes. So now let's continue with this mushrik.
Needs to follow the Quran and his family, the Ahlul Bayt.
You see? Some online professor now, he's saying we need to follow the Quran and the Ahlul Bayt. Can we find this kind of verse in the Quran? Is it in the Quran? Where God says you need to follow the Quran and Ahlul Bayt? Is there anywhere God says this? That's all out the question we are asking. Is there any way I can find such a verse? No, it doesn't exist. No, it doesn't exist. I'm serious. It doesn't exist anywhere in the Quran. Kitabullah wa sunnati, it doesn't exist in the Quran. I'm serious. So it baffles me where these people are getting these, things from, and how they try to interpolate these nonsensical point of views, and they think they are making sense because you have never met your meter, so you can keep spewing this foolishness all over. Yes. Now, let me top it all with this video. I have one more video to play before maybe I allow people to ask me questions. So let me go to the last video. The last video is this guy, the Oxford Bozo and Jake Brancatella, the Mushrik metaphysician. I hope you know him, right? Oxford Bozo, you know who is he? Oxford Bozo. When I say Oxford Bozo, you know. And then the Mushrik metaphysician. You know both of them, right? So I'm going to play the video.
We'll put you on loudspeaker. Tell us your experiences with this group, some of the arguments that they put forward.
Yes, assalamu alaikum. Thanks for inviting me, guys.
Salam.
I couldn't hear much of what was said from the other brothers. I heard certain verses being mentioned, so apologize if I repeat anything that was already said. But yeah, I was a Quranist for many years, so I kind of know a lot of the arguments inside and out. So let me just share a couple of them. One of the points that they'll bring up is the fact that the Quran declares itself to be tafsir li kulli shay, that it's a detailed explanation of all things. You can find this in the Quran, chapter 12, verse 111. You can also find in chapter 16, verse 89, where it mentions that the Quran is an explanation of everything, that it clarifies everything as well. And so they use these type of verses to say, well, if the Quran is a detailed explanation of everything, and that it's a clarification of everything, that it sort of explains everything, then we don't need anything else. And there are several verses, but those are just two that they use to try to make this argument. Not only that, the verse that was mentioned earlier, Quran 45 verse 6, where it says, in what hadith after Allah and his ayat will you trust and will you believe? I think you've already addressed that, but that's also a popular verse that they use. And then there are other verses, for example, in the Quran chapter 5 verses 15 and 16, where it explicitly states that the Quran, that with it, bihi, singular, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guides people out of darkness into light. And so, again, the question is, well, if the Quran is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone is guiding you or using to guide people out of darkness to light, we don't really need anything, because when Muslims pray 5 times a day, we say, Ihdina Salat al-Mustaqim. Well, in this verse, it says that the Quran is what guides to the Salat al-Mustaqim, the straight path. And then you have an explanation in the Quran itself, and I'm trying not to pile too many things on, because I want to be fair, although I think quite obviously that the Hadith rejector position is false. I want to be fair to represent them accurately, so I'm giving at least a couple arguments. You also find in the Quran in chapter 6 verses 151 to 153 it gives an explanation of what is deemed haram, or what people should not do and what they should do, being good to parents, staying away from worshiping other than Allah, all these things mentioned. And then in verse 153, it says, and this is my straight path, so follow it and don't follow other ways. So again, we see that the Quran is what guides to the straight path. And if that's what Muslims are looking for, we also see that in the Quran itself, it tells you what that straight path is. There's no need for going outside the Quran. We have everything that we need here. You know, and there are other verses that talk about the Quran and Islam being complete, perfect, fully detailed, and that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone is the guide. And even as Sunnis, of course, we believe this, but they slightly have a misconception about this. They think that if you're going to other sources besides the Quran, then you're going directly against the verses. And I'll just give one last verse, which they mention, which is in Quran chapter 6, verse 114, where it says, and I'll just read this one, then is it other than Allah I should seek as a judge, while it is He who has revealed to you the book, the Quran, explained in detail. And those to whom we previously gave the scripture know that it is sent down from your Lord in truth, so never be among the doubters. And so the argument is this, is that it's asking a rhetorical question, that I don't need to seek a judge other than Allah. And what is being conflated with Allah being a judge in this verse is the fact that He's revealed to you what? The Quran. So I don't need anything else. If you can go outside the Quran, you're seeking a judge other than Allah Himself. And so you're in violation of this verse. So these are some of the arguments. I don't want to pile too much on you guys, but the main points have to do with the Quran being sufficient as a guide to the straight path, and also the fact that it's claimed to be tafsil kulli shay, that it details everything and that it clarifies everything. So yeah, before we go to refuting any of those points, I'll just allow you guys to come in and share your thoughts on what I've said.
Thank you so much, Jake. We'll allow them to think about it first, so you can speak to the person next to you. You've heard from an ex-member, you know, of the group himself.
He says an ex-member as if it's a football team. Okay. Okay, let me see what I can do. Let's take it step by step. I want to help you to understand something. Jake Brancatella, that is the Mushrik metaphysician, he called the Oxford Bozo, right? He called the Oxford Bozo to actually give him his input when he used to be a follower of the Quran, hashtag like quote unquote Quranist, right? So then he was giving him his side of the story to show him that this is how the so-called Quranists use their evidences to you understand. Now, watch this. Now, when you listen to Jake carefully, you can sense the hypocrisy, and you can sense that that guy is a snitch. And you can sense that that guy is hanging in between. Because when you go to his profile on YouTube, you go about the profile, he said he's an aspiring servant of God. Aspiring servant of God. So he's aspiring. He's not yet a servant of God. He's aspiring servant of God. So there's something in between, something going on here. You can check his profile. Aspiring servant of God, right? Now, he called Muhammad Hijab. And then, so he's telling him his point of view. Then Muhammad Hijab called him. You remember I did a program on this video. That was two weeks or 3 weeks ago. I did a program on this full video. But then I didn't play this particular video. So now I'm playing this portion, right? Because I just happened to finish all the video. So this is the portion I'm playing. But now listen carefully. There's something I want you to pay attention to, right? I
hear you. We'll put you on loudspeaker. Tell us your experiences with this group, some of the arguments that they put forward.
So now Jake is going to call in to help the audience of Muhammad Hijab to know the kind of arguments the so-called Quranists put forth. so that the Oxford Bozo and his audience will now have an idea on how to tackle these issues, right? So let's go.
Yes, assalamu alaikum. Thanks for inviting me, guys.
Salam.
I couldn't honestly, I couldn't hear much of what was said from the other brothers. I heard certain verses being mentioned, so apologize if I repeat anything that was already said. But yeah, I was a Quranist for many years, so I can't.
So he said he was a Quranist for many years. So he is not actually admitting he's a Muslim for many years. He's just a Quranist for many years. So he's just a Quranist. So he belonged in all this while in his head, he belonged to a particular sect, and he doesn't classify himself as a Muslim. So it is only when he joined the Sunnis that is now when he thinks he's a Muslim. But let's see the problem with what he's going to say.
I know a lot of the arguments inside and out, so let me just share a couple of them. One of the points that they'll bring up is the fact that the Quran declares itself to be tafsil li kulli shay.
So now he's given one of the points that quote unquote the Quranists bring to the board is to say the Quran is a tafsil al kulli shay'in. Tafsil li kulli shay'in, meaning is an elaboration, right? Elaboration or a detailing of all things, or elaboration of all things, but that is in the scope of the Quran, right?
That it's a detailed explanation of all things. You can find this in the Quran, chapter 12, verse 111.
That is when we go to Surah to Yusuf, chapter 12, verse 111. It gave you the story of Joseph, and then it gave down there that tafsil al kulli shay'in, right? So this is a detail, because if you read the context, it's telling you about the hadith that you just read, the hadith of Yusuf, because the story, the narration is the hadith. So it's an event that God is telling you about, right? So this hadith, God says that it is not a fabricated hadith. The hadith you just read in the Quran chapter 12, it is not yuftara hadith, a fabricated one, but it's a what? Tafsila kulli shay'in. So God brought the detailing of everything, or elaboration of all things in that concept, the context of the hadith that God spoke about in Quran chapter 12, right? Okay.
You can also find in chapter 16, verse 89, where it mentions that the Quran is an explanation of everything, that it
in Quran chapter
clarifies everything.
So in Quran chapter 16, verse 89, where God says, وَنَزَّلْنَا عَلَيْكَ الْكِتَابَ تِبِيَانًا لِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ, right? We have revealed to you the book as a clarification, or you can say explanation or exposition of all things, right? And as guidance and mercy and good news for the what? Submitters, for the Muslims. So it is not a clarification of all things for everybody. It's for only anybody who actually admits he's a Muslim, yes. Then he will get the clarification of all things there, right?
Well, and so they use these type of verses to say, well, if the Quran is a detailed explanation of everything, and that it's a clarification of everything, that it sort of explains everything, then we don't need anything else. And there are several verses, but those are just two that they use to try to make this argument.
So he quoted two verses, which is Quran chapter 12, verse 111, and then Quran chapter 16, verse 89, to say this is what some of the Quranists quote as the argument to say nothing is needed aside the Quran, right?
Not only that, the verse that was mentioned earlier, Quran 45, verse 6, where it says, in what hadith after Allah and His ayat will you trust and will you believe?
So now he's quoting فَبِأَيِّ حَدِيثِ بَعْدَ اللَّهِ وَآيَاتِهِ يُؤْمِنُونَ, Quran chapter 45, verse 6, right? So now listen to what he's going to say.
I think you've already addressed that, but that's also a popular verse that they use. And then there are other verses, for example, in the Quran chapter 5, verses 15 and 16, where it explicitly states that the Quran, that with it be singular, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guides people out of darkness into light.
Yeah, so that's Quran chapter 5, verse 15 to verse 16. Tells about the book and the clear light that God, the bihi. So God used this bihi, the book, to guide whoever seeks the approval of God to the ways of peace, right?
And so, again, the question is, well, if the Quran is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone is guiding you or using to guide people out of darkness to light, we don't really need anything, because when Muslims pray 5 times a day, we say.
So now he's going to do the straw manning. He's going to go off the hook and now twist the narrative in order to make sense to Muhammad Hijab, because remember, he's playing the game of, how will I say, a snitch here, right? So now, Quran chapter 5, verse 15 to verse 16, Jake is going to tell us that indirectly he doesn't agree with what God says. So now he's starting to talk about the 5 daily prayers and so on, which we don't have it in the Quran, but he's going to talk about it in order to deflect the attention of the verse he quoted to state that point. But listen to the point he's going to make. He says, when you pray 5 times, you tell God, Ihdina Surat al-Mustaqim, guide us to the straight path. Now listen carefully.
This verse, it says that the Quran is what guides to the Surat al-Mustaqim.
Now in Quran chapter 5, verse 15 to verse 16, the word Quran is not mentioned. It is the clear book, the light, Nuran Mubin, Kitab wa Nuran Mubin, right? So let me put the verse so that you get the gist of what I'm saying. That is Quran chapter 5, verse 15 to verse 16. I put it on the screen. This is the verse on the screen. So God says, there has come to you from God a light, that is Nurun. Then he says, wa kitabin mubin, and a clear book, right? A light and a clear book. But these two, you find it in one place. So then God says in verse 16, then he says, Yahdi bihi. He didn't say Yahdi bihima. He didn't mention like 2 things. He used the what? Hendides, right? Then he used that to say Yahdi bihi lahu manittaba ridwanahu subul salam. So now, by which God guides those who follow his approval to the what? Ways of what? Ways of peace. Right? So the verse never mentioned the word Quran, but the main argument he's going to use is, he says, when you pray 5 times, you tell God, Ihdina Surat al-Mustaqim, guide us to the straight path. Now, it is the same God who revealed this book, because it says there has come to you from God, because we are telling God to guide us. So God has to use something to guide you. So he revealed a light and a clear book. So both combined together in one place. Then God says, by which God guides. Because when we told God, guide us to the straight path, he has to use something to guide you. But I think the English was so big for Jake to understand this. So he has to twist the narrative here. So pay attention clearly.
Path. And then you have an explanation in the Quran itself. And I'm trying not to pile too many things on, because I want to be fair, although I think quite obviously.
You see the hypocritical laugh he was doing here? So that he doesn't sound like he's defending the so-called Quranist. So now we can see Muhammad Hijab was looking like tensed and frustrated, or, bored listening to him.
That the Hadith rejector position is false.
Then he goes ahead to say the Hadith rejector position is false. Muhammad Hijab just told us that they are the biggest Hadith rejectors. Muhammad Hijab himself. Oh, you forgot. Shall I play the video? Listen.
Imagine you got 1 million hadith. How many Sahih hadith do you reckon we have? And now we said about 10,000, by the way. Like most of the 95% of the hadith that are in the 6 books of hadith constitute what is authentic. What is authentic? So we've been so critical with the hadith that we've rejected 95% of them. We're the biggest hadith rejectors on the planet.
You see, So Muhammad Hijab, he says they are the biggest hadith rejectors on the planet. So why now stress on minority to keep tagging us hadith rejectors, hadith rejectors? No. The biggest hadith rejectors by the horse's own mouth is sitting there. The elephant in the room. Let's go.
I want to be, fair to represent them accurately, so I'm giving at least a couple arguments. You also find in the Quran in chapter 6, verses 151 to 153, it gives.
So now he's quoting Quran chapter 6, verse 151 to 153.
It's an explanation of what is deemed haram, or what people should not do and what they should do, being good to parents, staying away from worshiping other than Allah, all these things mentioned. And then in verse 153, it says, and this is my straight path, so follow it and don't follow other ways.
So let me help you with the verse so that you see it clearly. That is not a bogus argument. But Jake was being a bit honest, and he says he doesn't want to misrepresent the case here. So let's see the verse. I put the verse on the screen. Now look at the verse. Let me maximize it. It says, and moreover, this is my straight path, so follow it. It is singular. It is not follow them. It's it. Singular. Pronoun. It's a singular pronoun. It is not follow both of them or follow them. Do you understand? Now look, and moreover, this is my straight path, so follow it, and do not follow ways. So you see, do not follow multiple ways, but follow one way. So follow it. He gave you his way. Will you find it in the book of God? One way. Not 2 ways or 3 ways or 4 ways. But then look at the argument Jake is going to present on the table here.
And we see that the Quran is what guides to the straight path. And if that's what Muslims are looking for, we also see that in the Quran itself, it tells you what that straight path is. There's no need for going outside the Quran. We have everything that we need here.
Yes, we have everything we need for our guidance in Islam. Yes, we have it in the Quran. Why doubt what God says? Because on the day of judgment, God is going to use the Quran to judge, again, to ask us questions. Quran chapter 25, verse 30. You read Quran chapter 25. قال رسول يا ربي إن قوم اتخذوا هذا القرآن مأجورا. Do you see? The messenger who said, my people have taken this Quran as abandoned. Yes. And that is the Quran going to be placed. And then questions will be asked. Because that is the book of guidance. It is guidance for mankind. It didn't say it is guidance for the Arabs. Do you understand? It is guidance for mankind. So God is going to ask questions on that. It's sufficient for our guidance. Because when God sends the Quran, he says, Sharu Ramadan allazi unzila fihi al-Quran. Then he says, Hudan linnas. The foolish mushriks, they don't agree with God. So let's go.
And there are other verses that talk about the Quran and Islam being complete, perfect, fully detailed.
You can see Muhammad Hijab was tired.
And that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone is the guide. And even as Sunnis, of course, we believe this, but...
Very good. Yeah, as Sunnis, of course, we believe in it. You see that this is how a hypocrite speaks. Yeah, of course, we the Sunnis, we believe you are a mushrik metaphysician.
They slightly have a misconception about this. They think that if you're going to other sources besides the Quran, then you're going directly against the verses. And I'll just give...
Yes, you are. If you go for other sources as a source of guidance, yes, you are. Yes, you are. And you are a hypocrite. So look, let me show you a verse. If you go to other sources, yes, you are. So let's check a verse here. Quran chapter 22, verse 54. See what God says. Let me put the verse on the screen. Now look at this verse on the screen. God says, وَلِيَعْلَمَ الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْعِلْمَ أَنَّهُ الْحَقُّ مِنْ رَبِّكَ Then he says what? فَيُؤْمِنُوا بِي. Then he says فَتُخْبِتَ لَهُ قُلُوبُهُمْ. Then he says وَإِنَّ اللَّهَ لَهَادِي لَذِينَ آمَنُوا إِلَى صِرَاطٍ مُسْتَقِيمٍ. So now the verse is, so that those who have been given the knowledge will know that it is the truth from your Lord, and they will believe in it. Because remember, if I don't believe in the verses of God, he will not guide me. Quran chapter 16 verse 104. You need to believe in the verses of God, then he can guide you. If you don't believe in the verses of God, he will not guide you. Quran chapter 16 verse 104. If you don't believe in the verses of God, God will not guide you. So now if you check Quran chapter 22 verse 54 that I'm quoting, then God says, and they will believe in it, and their hearts will humble to it. For indeed, God is the guide. Hadi. If we take the Lahadi and we put Mahadi, Mahad, Mahdi, God is your Mahdi. He is the one to guide you. Nobody else. The foolish mushriks will tell you there's somebody Mahdi coming. Don't worry, the Mahdi, I'm coming to you. I'll come to you next week. Don't worry, I'll deal with you. Then they'll tell you Mahdi is coming to guide you. You take the God's position to give it to somebody else. God is your Hadi and he is your Mahdi. No Mahdi anywhere. Don't fool yourselves. So then, for indeed, God is the guide of those who have believed to a straight path. Because this is the God we tell God, guide us to the straight path. Do you remember that? Quran chapter 1, right? Chapter 1. Ehdina surat al-mustaqim. Surat al-lazina an'amta alayhim. Chapter 1, verse 6. Guide us to the straight path. So now he's giving you the answer in Quran chapter 22, verse 54. Then he says what? For indeed, God is the guide of those who have believed to a straight path. Because Quran chapter 16, verse 104, if you do not believe in the verses of God, he will not guide you. Is it not simple? So we claim the book of God is sufficient because we take our guidance from it. You said, okay, no. We need to follow some garbage books to you understand, to mix the falsehood with the truth. But listen.
Verse which they mentioned, which is in Quran chapter 6, verse 114, where it says, and I'll just read this one, then is it other than...
So now he's going to call Quran chapter 6, verse 114. And then let's see the argument he's going to present to Muhammad Hijab. Muhammad Hijab was even tired. The Oxford Bozo is tired. But let's listen.
And Allah I should seek as a judge, while it is He who has revealed to you the book, the Quran, explained in detail.
He's quoting this verse. Look at the straw man argument he's going to present over this verse. Listen.
And those to whom we previously gave the scripture know that it is sent down from your Lord in truth, so never be among the doubters. And so the argument is this, is that it's asking a rhetorical question that I don't need to seek a judge other than Allah. And what is being conflated with Allah being a judge in this verse is the fact that he's revealed to you what? The Quran. So I don't need anything else. If you can go outside the Quran, you're seeking a judge other than Allah himself. And so you're in violation of this verse.
What is Jake talking about? Look, it is obvious these mushriks, they don't understand, they don't know the Quran. Anyways, Jake wasn't a strong, he wasn't very, very well endowed in the Quran before he started following the mushriks. If he was well endowed, he would not go to the mushriks. Right? He doesn't know that. Now, this is what God says in Quran chapter 5, verse 50. In Quran chapter 5, verse 50, this is what God is asking. Listen to the question. Afa hukmal jahiliyat yabugud. Then God says, Waman ahsanu minallahi hukman liqawmi yuqinun. So God says, so is it the judgment of ignorance they desire? And who is better than God in judgment for people who are certain? So Quran chapter 6 verse 114 is a reference to the believers who are certain with the verses of God. If I know God has talked about something here in the book of God, why will I go to your garbage books for the books to judge me over something? For instance, let's talk about adultery. You guys said if somebody is married and he commits adultery, you have to stone the persons to death. That's what you said. The mushriks. We don't find that in the book of God. We don't find that in the book of God. To stone somebody to death, it doesn't exist. As a matter of fact, Quran chapter 4 verse 23 to 24 to 25 gives you the criteria of people you can marry. Then he went ahead to tell you the young believing women that you have married. Ma malakat aymani, which is a young believing woman that you are married by the permission of a family. If she commits adultery, then you have to give her half of the punishment of what you give to a matured person. Now here, let me give an example. If you say the punishment for adultery is stoning to death, then how can you punish this young woman who has also committed the obscenity? God says you give her half of the punishment. So how do you do half of punishment of stoning to death? How do you do that? No, tell me how. Hey, Mushriks, help me out. How do you kill this lady in half? Hello, maybe you send her to coma and bring her back. Oh, tell me how. How do you do that? You understand? So this is how the mushriks, they have brain damage. And I said they need to reset the brain. They need new one. And new one, not just to reset the old one, because the old one, the foolishness can come back. So you stone this young woman in half. Hey, mushriks. So this is what we are telling you, that the judgment of God is sufficient. So shall I seek a judge other than God, while he is the one who has revealed to you the book explained in detail? Why will I seek some foolish books telling me we should stone somebody to death? Breastfeed adults. You should breastfeed adults, like a woman should breastfeed adults. This kind of book you say is a part of Islam. Something is not okay.
Some of the arguments, I don't want to pile too much on you guys, but the main points have to do with the Quran being sufficient as a guide to the straight path, and also the fact that it's claimed to be tafsil kulli shay, that it details everything and that it clarifies everything. So yeah, before we go to refuting any of those points, I'll just allow you guys to come in and share your thoughts on what I've said.
Thank you so much, Jake. We'll allow them to think about it first, so you can speak to the person next to you. You've heard from an ex-member, of the group himself.
So, ladies and gentlemen, this is Jake, the Mushrik metaphysician. That is Jake. When one of my my lovely sisters, Natalia, actually extended hands to him, she actually conversed with him. She had a conversation with him that, hey, I want you to face Baba Shah. He declined. He rejected that. I'm serious. He declined. I will mess him up. Wallahi, Jake, I will mess you up. You know Baba Shraib already. You used to give me big ups. You remember that, Jake? You used to watch my videos and you come to my inbox to give me big ups before you went to join these mushriks. You remember that, right, Jake? Okay. And you told me you love the way I present my argument, right? So now they mention me to you, and you said, no, I'm not dealing with that. You will not deal with me. You don't want to interact with me. You are scared, because I will stop you from getting the larger audience faster enough. Okay, no problem. You get the bigger crowd. When you are ready, let me know, Jake. It's obvious you guys don't look for lions. You only go for the chickens, and how will I say, the chihuahuas among us. You go for the chihuahua. You don't come for the lion. Babu Shraib is waiting for you in the den. When you grow balls, you mushrik metaphysician, I'm waiting for you. Jake, the mushrik metaphysician. Baba Shab will get you at the right. You don't worry. It's a small world. We will meet. When the sister approached you and said, come and face Baba Shab, let's have a dialogue, you rejected. You declined. You went to the extent you tell the sister, I'm not on your level. Hey, Jake, me, Baba Shab, I'm not on your level. You, somebody who you, hey, we still have your videos when you started doing your lectures. You think we don't have your videos? Okay. He's a YouTube star. I know. He needs the chicken change. You get the money and the fame. Right? We will strike you at the right time. Don't worry, Jake. I will get you. Baba Shraib will get you. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, I've done 2 hours. Let me give the chance for people to call in. This is the phone number on the screen. +358 466 803144. Correctional officer WhatsApp number. You can call in the program, ask your questions. I might give you like I think 30 minutes. I might pick up like 3 calls, and then I move on to TikTok and be there for like 1 hour or 2 before I end the program. So if you are interested in calling to ask about anything I spoke about, then you're welcome. Mutedi says what? Baba Mkurio says Aguriu. Says Mutedi, Mushriks bought Jake already. Yeah, they bought him. He's a YouTube star, yes. Yes, thank you very much, Mutadi. Yes, thank you. So guys, we have 146 people watching live. Yes, I know the mushriks, they have fake profiles. They come and watch me. They hide and watch. You don't worry. All the popular YouTubers they have, the popular mushriks, whatever, they know me very well. I'm serious. They know me. It's not like they don't know Baba Shraib. They know. Jake knows me. Farid knows me. Ben, there's a guy called, all of them, they know me. I'm serious. They just don't mention me. Because when the attention comes on Baba Shraib, they will be in trouble. So they try to avoid me the best they could. Yes. When I got the chance to do a debate, when I went with Mohammed to debate David Wood, if David Wood could have happened to be Mohammed Hijab or like a popular person in the mainstream, he would decline. He will not do debate with me. He will say, no, I have more audience than that guy, so I'm not going to do debate with him. This is how the mushriks have been programmed, because they are celebrities. They are not out there for the truth, right? They don't dare put their number and say, call me. And now, Baba Shraib, you see, confidently, I put my number. I say, mushriks, call me. Let's arrange a dialogue. I'll bring you happily. I'm not scared. Look, I've even given Siddiq Bozo the chance to have a debate with me. Who else can I not bring? Siddiq Bozo, I gave him the chance to have a debate. So you don't worry. My phone number is there. This is my phone number on my page. If you think my phone number is too much for you, you join me on TikTok. I'm going on TikTok after this. So mushriks, come. Baba Shraib is there. I'm not boasting with anything. I have only the truth. For bizalika, faliyafrahu. That is what God says you should rejoice with. I rejoice with the rahmah of God, the favor of God. That is the book of God. Yes, I can rejoice with that. So if you think Baba Shraib is misleading the people, lying to the people, sending people astray, oh yeah, my number is there. My TikTok is there. I rely on God, nothing else. If God should support you, none can defeat you. And you know that, you mushriks, you know that. So Baba Shraib is waiting for you. Happily, my phone number is there. I'm not hiding from anybody. Just proudly call me and then ask me, how do you pray? Yes. Just my number is there. Just call. How do you pray? I'm waiting for that question. How do you pray? Ismail Patel says, anyone who rejects the hadith and sunnah of our prophet is a non-believer, says a mushrik. Ayla, He says, no, Baba Shraib, it is good to share each other's thoughts. That's how we learn. That's not how we learn. No. Islam is not about sharing your thoughts. Who needs your thoughts in Islam? Tell me. Quran chapter 10, verse 36. Yeah. وَمَا يَتَّبِعُ أَكْثَرَهُمْ إِلَّا ظَنَّا إِنَّا ظَنَّا لَا يُغْنِي مِنَ الْحَقِّ شَيْئًا. It says most of them follow nothing but assumption. If you are talking about thoughts, it's assumption. We are not talking about thoughts. Islam is about come and spew the truth, come and spew the facts. It's not about thoughts. If it's thoughts, then what is the truth for? What are we fighting for? It's about thoughts. Then let's leave everybody to have their thoughts, opinions. It is out of the same foolishness type of thoughts people are talking about. That is how we have pedophiles fighting for their rights. We have transgenders fighting for their rights. We have people who want to sell human trafficking fighting for their rights. We have the gays fighting for their rights. We have the lesbians fighting for their rights because of their own thoughts. So if about sharing your thoughts, it's not about who needs your thoughts. We are talking about the truth. You say sharing thoughts. Sharing thoughts with who? The mushriks? Which thoughts tell me what important thoughts can a mushrik present to you? You tell me. Sharing thoughts with who? Mushriks? Hey, Ayla, you are not scared of trouble. That is not how sharing thoughts works. Yeah. You show me a verse in the Quran where God is saying I should share thoughts with the mushriks. Now, the mushrik says the Quran and Hadith say so, but he still didn't quote a verse. He quoted a verse where Quran says so. Hey, but you're writing, I see you, salam. Where does the Quran say we have to, whoever doesn't follow your garbage books is not these mushriks, they are frustrated. I'm serious. You know, your market is going down. Dimples, Dimples, send me a message. Let me call you back on here. Somebody calling. Dimples, say hi to me. Let me call you back. Somebody was trying to call. Yeah, salam, Jacob. Dimples, say hi to me on the message. Whoever is calling, Dimples or whatever. Okay, let me call you back. So I can call you here, and then everybody can hear you.
Assalamu alaikum, Baba Shraib.
Wa alaikum salam, my sister. Your name and where you're calling from?
Yeah, my name is Bukola, and I'm calling from United States.
Okay, my sister Bukola.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you. How may I help you?
Yeah, I've been listening to your program since I got into the US.
Oh, nice.
For about 3 months now.
3 months. That's good.
Yeah. On how to pray and every other thing that you explained.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I talked to a friend
Yes.
about it.
Mm-hmm.
He said I shouldn't listen to all those sorts of things. He said, how do we make ghusl without the hadith? I told him how to make ghusl is already in the Quran. He also said how to wash the dead, how to perform Hajj, why men and women cannot pray on the same room, how to conduct nikah, how to pay zakat, the call to prayer. He mentioned so many of it.
So, you see, when people start asking this kind of nonsensical questions, what you just need, all you need is not knowledge. You need common sense to answer them.
Exactly.
For instance, when they say, how do you wash the dead? So, like, when you wash the dead, what does it do for the dead?
Exactly.
You understand?
That's exactly what I told him.
And the parents of the prophet, How were they washed? Does it matter? Okay, if it matters, in Quran chapter 5, verse 27, when two of the sons of Adam fought each other and one killed the other, he buried him without showering him, without doing any salat janaza for him. So does that mean he's going to hell?
No.
That's the point.
Exactly what I told him, that God sent a crow to show him how to bury the dead.
So that's the point. These people don't understand Islam of the Quran because they've been programmed to superimpose certain books over the Quran. So when they are questioning you, they think they have authority, and he is telling you to forget this kind of people. But why is he asking questions then?
I don't know. He even said how to call to prayer, how to the call.
Oh my God.
Prayer.
This call to prayer, according to their own hadith, it was somebody's dream. Even the prophet didn't know how to call for a prayer. It is somebody who has to have a dream and came to the prophet and say, hey, I have a dream, so let's try this one. Then the prophet said, oh yeah, let's go. Let's call the Salat.
Exactly.
So according to them, again, when they wanted to insult us, no Arab climbed up there to pray, to call the Salat. They have to make a black man do that. If it is something good, do you think they are allowed a black man to go up there and call? So this is their own sayings. I don't believe in this. It's not coming from the Quran. There is nothing like calling for prayer. This is the foolishness they keep teaching people, and they think they are making sense. Baba Shoaib, all I'm doing is to liberate my people from mental slavery. This is mental slavery. Look, yes, we are thinking these people who wrote these caricature books, trying to teach you, saying they teach you Islam, and then out of their foolishness again, they will say this is the sayings of the Prophet. Where did he give the license to these garbage books? Where?
I don't know. He also asked me another question. He said, why men and women cannot pray on the same room?
Okay, where in the Quran did God say men and women cannot pray in the same room? Where? That's the question you need to ask him. Where did God say that?
What I even wanted to tell him was that when Miriam, when she was in a secluded place, she prayed alone. We as women also can pray alone in our homes. Or anywhere, even without praying together. That's my thoughts on it. So you can enlighten
Oh
him
my
on that
God.
one.
You see, my sister, my number is there. Tell him if he's man enough, you give him my number. That's one. Say, call this guy. Okay. Simple. Don't let him bombard you with anything. Just say, Baba Shoaib, say, this is his number. Call him. That's all.
Okay.
So that will save you some time and energy. You keep up watching my videos. My videos is just there to liberate the people, right? That is it.
Yeah.
So watch and learn, but learn so that you weaponize yourself with a lot of information from the Quran where you can use it against these mushriks. They are mushriks, actually.
And may God keep guiding us to the right path.
Thank you. That's the best dua you have to do. Because we always tell God to keep us on the right path. Thank you, my sister. Bukola.
Okay.
So thank you for calling, and may God keep you safe. Peace. So that is one sister of us from Nigeria calling to actually give her input on Jacob says what? That reminds me something about what our sister is saying. One of my Shia friend was saying God said we should follow the Prophet. So why am I telling him that we should follow only Quran? So I ended up giving him your number, and he was like, your Malam will tell you after I have proven to him with facts, and I wish him good luck. And that is how the story ended. He never called. Baba Shoaib is still waiting. Look, let me tell you emphatically, if these people have been actually getting in touch with me, they will have recorded every conversation I have with them. They are scared. I'm serious. I don't know why. Sometimes I'm even surprised. Why are they scared? Why are you scared of Baba Shoaib? I don't know. They're actually scared. Yes, brother.
Yes, assalamu alaikum, brother Shoaib.
Yeah, wa alaikum salam, brother. Is it Abdul Wahab, right? Can you?
Yes, brother.
Yes. Can you mute?
Actually, what?
Can you mute the video you are watching? You are watching my video there. Can you mute it?
Okay. Yes, brother Joel, I am watching your video.
Yeah.
Listen, I just wanted to ask you one quick question, right? Okay, how do you how did do we get nikah in Islam? How do we get nikah?
How do we get nikah to get in a marriage?
Yeah, how do we get married in Islam?
I do have a video on that. I have a lecture on that. I have a video if you check.
Okay. Well, inshallah, I'm gonna find it right now.
No,
If you
it's
could,
on my
could you send
YouTube.
it to my WhatsApp?
It's on my YouTube. I'll send you. I can send you. Just hold on for a bit.
Thank you
so
very
that
much.
I remember. Wait.
Yeah.
If you go to my
Yes, brother Short.
playlist.
And also, right, I don't want to waste your time, right? I just gotta ask you one more question, right?
Yes.
Okay, I want to make a donation. I don't know how to, like, like how these people do this stuff on your show, where they give you, like, maybe a $10 or something. You know what I'm saying? I really don't, brother. I really don't know how. Wallahi, I don't know how to do these things. And like I said to you before, I'm not computer literate. I'm just getting older, but I'm not computer literate. So I want to make a donation, right? Now, when my stuff comes in, right?
Yeah.
And stuff like that, I would like to make a donation to you. You know what I'm saying? Whatever you know what I mean? And stuff like that. So I will call you back. I won't waste your time like the last time. And I apologize for the last time.
No, don't worry. Don't worry.
Wallahi, you know what I'm saying? But you know what I mean? There was something wrong with my Visa card. And I had to go and find, I had to go and put in things because like they wasn't giving me back my money. Wallahi, I did not know.
No need, brother. Listen, Abdul Wahab, no need to explain anything. I'm not actually here actually asking people for money. No, that's not what I'm doing. If people look,
I know, but
wait.
I didn't need anything, but I wanted to do something for you because you know what I'm saying. I just didn't want you to keep getting up.
No. Wait a minute.
Because at the same moment, you know me, that
you don't, like, Abdul Wahab, you don't owe me. You don't owe me an explanation, right? No need to explain. Look, what I want people to understand is people watching me out of excitement. Sometimes, look, I will have somebody on TikTok and send me even 1,000 gifts. It is not, look, I've never sat on my program where I'm telling people, hey, send me gifts, send me. Or I will tell people, send me. No. It's for people to decide that. I don't tell people, send me that, because that's not why I'm sitting here. Look, I started doing my lectures on live since 2018. I've never come online telling people, hey, sponsor me, give me money. Dude, no. I started this when there was no even gifts online. They don't give gifts, right? But out of what the love that people have for me, if you feel like you are capable of doing, that's up to you. But I'm not saying you have to explain yourself just because some things didn't go right.
Yes,
No.
sure.
Don't feel bad.
Yes,
never.
Yeah.
You don't owe me an explanation.
Okay.
If you have the capacity,
sometimes I'm explaining to you, Brother Show, because I don't want you. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to waste your time. I know you have things to do. You have your family. You have your business. You have teaching. You have so much things to do, and I just really didn't want you to feel like, oh, like this guy, like I'm not asking him for nothing. Like he wants to bullshit me.
No.
That's why I'm explaining, because I don't want you to feel like that.
Don't worry at all. Don't look. I've had a lot of people who try to get in touch with me, do things for me, and I actually declined. I have had a lot of people who I declined. It's not like if I accept. Look, a lot of people just don't know. I live in Finland. It's not like I'm still in Africa hiding somewhere, and So I'm living. I'm not starving. But the point is, when people want to do things out of heart, who am I to stop them? But you don't owe me an explanation to explain yourself and say, oh, no. I don't feel bad about it. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
At all.
No,
don't worry.
I feel bad about it.
Okay. So this is something we can talk about it after on. Let's focus on the program. I appreciate your support and time, but
yes, brother,
whatever it is, I will just tell you, go to YouTube and then search how to gift somebody, or you understand, you see the videos on that on how to do.
Okay, but brother Shub, could you do me a favor, please? I'm begging you, please, just brother, could you send that to me right now?
I'll send you the link. No, I'll send you the link. Don't worry. I'll send you the link.
Okay.
Don't worry.
Thank you very much, brother Sean. Okay.
Yeah, I'll do that.
I'm waiting on it, right?
Don't worry.
Thank
Don't
you.
worry.
Jazakallah khairan, brother Sean.
Yeah,
Salam alaikum, brother.
Salam to you, brother. Peace. Yeah. Okay. So let me see. There's 2 hours. Let me see. It's 2 hours, 19 minutes. I can tolerate 10 more minutes before I go to TikTok. So 10 minutes more if you yes, Elijah Atel Mahmoud say let him send it to the foundation. Yes. There are a lot of options though. This next number calling, it doesn't show here. Let me wait a second. The number from Italy calling, send me a hi message. Okay, let me do this. I'll call you right back. Let me call you back. I'm calling you back, the Italian number. I'll call you back right now. So just a second. Bear with me. I just want to put something here for somebody, then I get back to you. The number from Italy, right? I'm calling you back in a jiffy. Just a second. I just need to give this to the brother. And here we go. So I call you back.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam, brother. Your name and where you're calling from?
I'm calling from the Netherlands. My name is Yassine.
Yassine from the Netherlands. How may I help you, brother?
Yes. My question is, let's say I used to sell drugs, narcotics.
Okay.
And I stopped with it.
Yeah.
But I have money left.
Okay.
From selling. What should I do?
What should you do?
What should I do with this money?
What should you do with the money? You've already
Yes.
you stopped selling, but you said you just stopped selling drugs.
Yeah, it's 2 years ago.
And what followed after when you stopped selling, and then what is next?
I tried to find an ayah in the Quran to know what I should do, but I didn't find nothing.
Let me help you out. I want you to rephrase your statements because there's something you are missing here. I'm looking for something in your statement. Rephrase your statement. You said you sell drugs and you stopped selling drugs.
Yes.
And then
because
what?
I repented.
So this is the word I'm looking for. You repented.
Yes.
From selling drugs.
Yes.
And then?
Yeah, now I'm in a how do you say, a dilemma.
The dilemma over what?
What should I do with this money?
No, your money doesn't have any problem.
But is there an ayah in the Quran which states this?
Yeah, it has to state otherwise if it tells you don't keep that money. The Quran never says don't keep that money is not valuable again. The Quran never said that. So why do you expect an ayah to tell you what again?
If I could use it.
Look,
in my life.
You have repented. Let me give you an example. When people give you money, do you know where they are getting the money from?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the last question.
I said when somebody gives you money, do you know where they get the money from?
No, not for sure.
So what if the money they have is from an evil place and they are giving it to you to use? Does it mean you get a sin because somebody gave you money and then you are using it and maybe it could be evil? So that means you are going to commit a sin?
So it's halal to keep it?
Let me give you an example. Quran chapter 8, verse 38. So let me put it on the screen. Then we talk about this. I put it on the screen. Quran chapter 8, verse 38. This is what God says. He says, tell those who have disbelieved, if they refrain, what they have done previously will be forgiven for them. But if they repeat, then the tradition of the predecessors has continued. Now, something you are doing in the past, you repented, you stopped doing, right? So you sold drugs and you stopped selling drugs, but now you have the money. So what is the problem with the money? You stop selling drugs, but you have money. So what do you expect to do? To throw that money away?
Yes, but I heard and read about, let's say, in hadith, and I don't believe in hadith anymore, that it's forbidden
So
to keep it.
Fine. If that is the hadith, put the hadith aside. You don't believe the hadith. So now where does the Quran say you cannot keep it? That's the question. Where did the Quran say this money you cannot use it again? Where?
That's why I called you.
So that is the point. God,
maybe you could give me an answer.
It's not there. If God never spoke about something, where should I go and bring it from? And give you to do what? When God never spoke about it. God is the judge. God never said that money is bad. If there is, just like he spoke about riba, he will have said it the same way. Do you get my point?
No, I understand.
He never said that money is evil. So you have repented. It's not like you are still repeating the same act again. You stopped it, but you have money now. So are you saying you are going to throw the money away? No.
I read about lots of people who put the money away.
That is them. They put it away, but where did God say put it away? Whoever told you God says something, let them prove it. Let them give you a verse.
That's why I called you. I thought maybe you could answer this dilemma.
I just gave you the answer. You are not listening.
No, I'm listening.
I said God never said anything concerning the money. If there is, whoever said there is, let them give you a verse where God says, oh, I repented, but the money I have previously, that money, I have to throw it away or I have to share it. I don't have to use it again. It is about you repenting. You have repented. So what now? You repented. So it's money you have. So money is money. It has to be used. It's currency. It flows. You use it for something good. You get my point? Yes. Just use it for something good. That's it.
Okay. I want to thank you for your...
Yes. You're welcome. Answer. You're welcome. There's nothing more to do. That's just this. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
Somebody is saying that the brother who just called, somebody said I should tell you to send him the money. He needs money. He says if you don't know what to do with your money, send him. The most important thing is you have repented. You understand? God says if you go back to the old ways, then God will deal with you. But you've repented. So just use it for a good cause. That's all. Use it in a good way. Because I don't expect you to go and use it in the bad way. So use the money. You worked for it, even though it could be in a bad way, but you worked for it. That is gone. Let bygone be bygone. But that doesn't mean you should throw away the money. What? But you can use it for a good cause. So ladies and gentlemen, I think 2 hours, 30 minutes is okay. Dawan Sharif says, I have 2 questions which I'm struggling to answer when debating Mushrik preachers. You can send me a message, Dawan Sharif, please. Send me a message. That's my number, my WhatsApp number. Send me a message. I'll try to get back to you, inshallah. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. This is where I bring the topic to an end. Yes, I bring the topic to an end till we meet again next week. And hopefully by that time I'm done watching the video concerning the Mahdi. Then I can speak about that guy, Mahdi, right? Yes. So ladies and gentlemen, look, this is the simplicity of Islam according to the Quran. Don't try to impose laws where God hasn't spoken about anything. Quran chapter 16, verse 116. Do not, you see our tongues here, you don't fabricate a lie with your tongues to say this is halal and this is haram in order to fabricate lies against God. You will not succeed. If God says something is haram, show it to the people. If he doesn't say it, don't show it. It's not there. Where are you going to take that verse from? So if God has given you according to what you can deal with that. If it's not in the book of God, there's nothing to worry about. I'm serious. Don't worry about things God never spoke about, right? Live in peace. God is not going to say, hey, why did you use that former drug money? Why did you use it to buy something good for your daughter? Or something? No. It's gone. You have already repented. That's it. You get the point? Yes. So, ladies and gentlemen, Baba Shraib, the correctional officer, this is where I bring the topic to an end. I'm going to TikTok, so kindly join me to have fun. I think some mushriks were hoping for me to pick them up. So kindly join me there, and then let's have some fun. Thank you very much, Imran Khan, Mutadi, yes, Sorin Bed, Kazali Diallo, yes, Abdul Samad, at Nara Power, Tariq Ayub, Fatima Chin, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Musa Ibrahim, Balogun, yes, Olayinka, yes. I see you all. Thank you all, ladies and gentlemen. This is where I bring the topic to an end. Alhaji Atel Mahmoud, all of you. So please, if you can join me on TikTok, you're welcome. But other than that, till we meet again next week, this is where I say peace out to you, and thank you, and God bless you all. Peace.